Hello and welcome back to Hot Take here on No Bullshit, where we review the latest movies and give you our hot take on them. Today's movie is Super Troopers 2, the latest installment from the Broken Lizard comedy troupe. But is this a worthy sequel to the now legendary cult comedy Super Troopers 1 from 2001? Let's see! Oh yes, Super Troopers 2 is an excellent comedy movie. Definitely a great follow-up to the original, and a great addition to the Broken Lizard film franchise. These guys are hilarious. If you're not familiar, Broken Lizard started around 2001 when they came out with their first movie, Super Troopers. Well, their first major motion picture. And they followed that up with a couple other really funny movies in the early 2000s, including Club Dread and Beer Fest, one of my personal favorites. And well, now, 17 years later, we finally have Super Troopers 2, the first sequel from this group, and I have to say, it's a lot of fun to watch. I came into this movie hoping for a few things, and the guys really delivered. When I rewatched the movies this week, I noticed Super Troopers was seeming a little old, seeming kind of like a 90s movie, and this one definitely needed to step things up to be funny in the modern markets. And Super Troopers 2 definitely did. It was faster paced and had a lot of exciting new things thrown in there that was a lot of fun. I would easily say this is the greatest comedy this year so far. A close second would probably be Game Night, which was also still really funny, but this is rated R comedy at its best. Like I was saying before, they really need to step up their game to make this sequel worth it, and they sure did. The guys knew what to do. They added more jokes, it was faster paced, and they even had this funny new premise. Basically, the story summary for this movie is the guys have all stopped being cops for a while now, and now they're contractors and they have these other different side jobs, but the government comes calling and asks them to be Super Troopers once again. The reason the government calls these Super Trooper guys back in the action is part of Canada is about to be taken over by Vermont. The Super Troopers previously covered a highway area in northern Vermont, and now they're going to be taking over this part of Canada. And that brings in the new, interesting, hilarious comedy. There's a ton of Canada jokes in this movie. How's it going, eh? Sorry. Lots of Canadian accents, lots of humor. They use the metric system. They love maple syrup. They have everything the same over there, but just a little bit different wording and phrasing. It's really funny seeing all these guys come out. So much like in the first movie where the Super Troopers butted heads with the actual police officers, in this movie it's the Super Troopers butting heads with the Canadian police officers, which are also called Mounties. They wear those red shirts and they have their Canadian accents. Sorry, eh? And it's a lot of fun to watch. All in all, this movie was a great rated R comedy. It does get dirty, it does get some gross out jokes in there, which I thought were welcome. It was a nice touch. Not too much though, not too cringy, but lots of fun. One funny scene is where a bear comes into the office of the new Super Troopers headquarters. And I think they used a live bear for a lot of the filming there because it looked really good, and the shots and the close-ups looked really scary too. Good comedy premise, bringing in real animals and having people play off of that. Drugs also play a key role in this movie, much like before the original Super Troopers is known for a stoner comedy, and this one keeps up with that and even goes further. It brings in some new, more current drugs in there. The guys take a bunch of pills. One of them's on acid, one of them's on steroids. They throw that in there and raise the stakes again on this part too. Super Troopers 2 also had some really good cameos in the beginning. There's a dream sequence, and there's a couple other tripping sequences that have these good new faces. I won't give you spoilers, but there's a lot of surprising characters that show up in there. Everyone's back from the original too, which was really nice. The other thing I wanted to note was the great direction by Jay, the director and Broken Lizard member. He's been really improving his game so much over the years. I mean, he started out amazing, don't get me wrong. Broken Lizard was always a great comedy troupe. Super Troopers was good. Everything was well directed back then, but to see him come this far was also really fun. I mean, this guy, they may have stopped making Broken Lizard movies for about 10 years now, but Jay has been directing over and over in all kinds of different sitcoms. He's been on Community, he's been on Happy Endings, he's been on Arrested Development, another classic comedy. So you could see his skill has been raised over the years, like very increased. The direction is really well done, and that's why they can make this movie faster paced with lots of different humor, lots of different blended types of humor. Gross out meets referential humor. They call back some stuff from the old movie, and then they even bring in a lot of new things. They don't rely too much on the old movie, so don't worry about that either. With all that said, let's go ahead and bring out the hot take meter. I would easily give this movie 4 out of 5 flames. This was a great comedy, definitely a good addition to the Broken Lizard movies. If you like those movies before, you'll like this one, and if you just like comedies like like me, if you like rated R humor, gross outs, drugs, sex, rock and roll, all that fun stuff is in this movie. It's a great watch. Definitely check it out. If you like to laugh, I mean, unless you don't like to have fun, then this movie is not for you. Thanks for tuning in to this new episode of Hot Take. Next week, we're of course going to be watching Avengers Infinity War, so stay tuned.